Hello, my name is Samuel Schmidgall, and I'm here to present my work titled Adaptive Reinforcement Learning through Evolving Self-Modifying Neural Networks. So, to begin, let's take a look at the inspiration for this work. The adaptive capabilities seen in biological neural networks are largely a product of synaptic self-modification, which is mostly absent in the neural models used in modern reinforcement learning. So, to clarify a little bit on this, synaptic modification is done during the reinforcement learning process, but it is not utilized until the end of the agent's interaction with the environment. Whereas in biology, synaptic connections are constantly being modified, based simply on the interaction with neighboring neurons. Here in this work, we show that artificial neural networks, which are augmented using a variant of neuromodulated Hebbian plasticity, and further optimized using OpenAI's variation on natural evolutionary strategies, outperforms both the traditional fully connected feed-forward network and the same network architecture trained using state-of-the-art policy gradient method, proximal policy optimization, on a challenging high-dimensional continuous control adaptive learning task. Additionally, training the networks on a modern 6-core desktop, the neuromodulated network trained using evolutionary strategies finishes over 4 times faster than the respective gradient method. These results provide evidence that evolutionary strategies may provide an advantage on adaptive learning tasks, especially in the case of when utilizing neuromodulated Hebbian plasticity. Okay, so to begin, let's take a look at the adaptive learning environment proposed in this work. Here we begin with a 12-jointed quadruped, which is called Ant. We used GECCO as the simulator for this. And in order to necessitate adaptivity, a single leg is crippled at the beginning of each new environment run, which is crucially not included in the state information, more so as in which the leg that's crippled is not included in the state information. This is crucial because if it were to be actually included in the state information, then some people may argue that it is no longer considered an adaptive learning task, as it fits within the MDP framework. This makes it so the quadruped, furthermore, must decipher which leg is crippled based merely on the interaction between its joints in the environment. So the goal of the environment in general is just to attain the highest maximum velocity that it can in the x direction, which is going forward this way. Here in the picture you can see a sequence of steps which displays the quadruped's adaptive gait. So on the left you see this is the first position of the environment run, and this is the second position. So as you can see, it's transitioning to a position where it's letting the crippled leg trail behind. It's utilizing its front leg for stability, and it's pedaling with these two left and right feet, or legs. Okay. Next we'll move on to the specifics of the neuromodulated plasticity. Here in this case, an underlying set of weights are simultaneously optimized, along with the parameters responsible for modifying them online, as seen in the equation below. Here the mx of t, or more generally the m of t, which is referred to as in the paper, is responsible for taking in local information and generating neuromodulatory signals. Such signals modulate the interaction between pre- and post-synaptic activity, which ultimately decide the direction of online changes in the weights. Here keep in mind that the neurons that fire together don't necessarily wire together, like in Hebb's rule. Since the modulatory signal is learned, it could either increase or decrease the connection between them. In our experiment, we represent the neuromodulatory signal as a linear set of weights with a sigmoid activation. So next we're going to take a high-level overview of the OpenAI evolutionary strategies optimization method. So a few recent innovations enabled the efficient training of artificial neural networks on a series of challenging reinforcement learning problems, introducing competitive performance and shorter training time on the common RL benchmarks. The most crucial innovation was in enabling near-linear speedups with the CPU parallelization through the use of passing random seeds, making the transfer of large noise vectors redundant. An additional benefit is seen for architectures utilizing recurrence as an internal state parameter as internal state parameter updates do not require rolling out the interaction over time, as is done in backpropagation through time. So here below is the parameter update equation. If you're interested in reading more about that, the original paper is cited in the references, and I definitely recommend looking at that. Yeah, so putting this all together, the performance of the traditional feed-forward and self-modifying networks were compared using proximal policy optimization and the OpenAI evolutionary strategies. Through our experiments on the adaptive learning environment, Cribbled Ant, it was showed that the self-modifying network trained using OpenAI ES is significantly outperformed the other networks. Additionally, the self-modifying OpenAI ES network took only 214 minutes to train toward convergence, whereas the self-modifying PPO network took 968.8 minutes using the PyTorch framework. Future work in this area might involve exploring different types of neuromodulated plasticity roles and additional levels of self-modification, such as self-modifying neurons and layer counts. Thank you for listening, and I hope you gained something from this. Goodbye.